read about my heroes, it's sobering to see that they achieved what they achieved when they were younger than me. The movers and the shakers throughout history, if my calculations are correct, were all much younger than me. They spent their time doing great things and righting the great wrongs, and I spend most of mine drinking tea and writing stupid songs. And now when I scroll through the news or turn on the TV, the people making all the waves are so much younger than me. What folks, Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire here with song number 54 of my Song a Week project. This one is inspired by, well, essentially the last 20 or 30 years of my life, really, where you have those moments where you're looking and reading about the people that you like and respect, heroes of yours, and particularly for me, musical heroes, considering that's the field that I'm in. And you realise how young they were when they broke through. And you can't help but compare yourself and where you are in life, or where you are at the same age. It started really in my 20s. And actually, in your 20s, it's quite reassuring because you can see that people are breaking through kind of a little bit later than perhaps you worried that you needed to. And so, you know, you'd look at kind of when certain artists had their biggest hit and you realised, okay, yeah, I've still got time for that. I've still got time. Or when kind of a film star finally got their big break in a career and you'd go, I've still got time. And then as you get into your 30s, it becomes even more depressing. And then looking back in your 40s as I am now, it is quite sobering. So it was inspired by that, and I realised it's probably not the best thing, comparing yourself to other people. But it's something I can't help myself doing. Do other people do the same thing? I'm not sure. Perhaps it's just me, but do let me know if this is something that you do in the comments. It would reassure me to know that other people are doing it as well. Looking into some of the artists for this particular video, because I thought I'd do some research around the subject, because it piqued my curiosity when I wrote the song. Big hero of mine, Tom Lehrer, 25 when he released his first album. That's 20 years younger than me. Looking at what I quite often do is look at the age that people were, the year that people were born, and then you start kind of calculating it back. To look at how old they were when they achieved what they achieved. Various historical figures that you realise were far younger than you are now when they were doing the big thing that they're famous for. It's a little bit depressing, but it's probably not the best thing to be doing. But yeah, let me know in the comments if this is something that you do as well, because it'd be quite reassuring for me. I played this on my Duke 10 banjolele. If you're interested in getting hold of one of these, you can find details in the description below the video. Now, last week's song struck quite a chord, and I didn't realise how much of a chord it would strike, actually. I thought I was just being a miserable git. It was a song called Please Don't Add Me to the Group Chat, which is about my hate of being added to group chats with lots and lots of people in. But it seems to have struck a chord. It's doing quite well across social media. So I'm going to share some of the comments that people have had about that. Basically, Mike says, I'm impressed by how fluidly you play that soprano uke. I have a concert size and find it difficult to do the fingering at times, possibly since I'm used to bass guitar and have been able to play a soprano. I might do better with a tenor. I love the uke sound though. I love your stuff. Keep up the great work. Yes, it is quite easy if you're kind of used to a bigger fretboard. It is quite difficult getting your hands kind of used to kind of being smaller distances between frets and things like that. I actually struggle playing guitar more now because I play the uke so much. I actually struggle a little bit more, but it's just time and practice really. And I've got giant hands. And yeah, the soprano I find quite easy to play these days, but I did used to struggle with it. So yeah, just keep at it. That's my suggestion there. Sazzy6264 says, amazing and accurate. When are you going to write a song called Please Don't Call Me While Sitting on the Toilet? Because I feel it's an issue that needs to be addressed. Do people do that? I would never think to do that. Maybe when I was younger, perhaps. But no, I don't think I've ever done that, really. Do people do that? That's horrendous. That needs to stop. That needs to stop straight away. Archangel M127 says, in all seriousness, just permanently mute the chat if you don't want to be to formally leave for whatever reason. I do that. I do that. Sometimes you have to be involved in the group chat to be able to find out what's going on. And yeah, I do kind of mute group chats on a regular basis. But it's when you're added to one that has lots of people in that is relying on information that could just be kind of worked out and sent in an email. That's the frustration there. But yes, I do mute group chats all the time for that reason. Because I've always found that when it appears Tom Wilde has left the conversation, it looks like I'm flouncing out of the room in disgust, which is, the effect that's quite nice sometimes. But yeah, so muting it is something that I do, yeah. Dan Forbes 3573 says, the only way I reckon to avoid unwanted group chat invites in the first place is to have notifications permanently turned off. Yeah, it is, but then you still go back in and you still see those in the group chats, and you still see that appearing there, and it constantly appears. And whenever you go into your messages, you see the group chat there and various things going on in it. And then you could never pick up with it. But yeah, I would rather just not be in them, to be fair. Some dude on YouTube says, unwanted group chat invites are a pest. I hate them with a passion. I always deny invitations and make sure to let everybody know, do not add me. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Sometimes I don't think you can actually, you have to leave conversations on certain applications, don't you, rather than actually being invited. People can just add you unsolicited to them, and that gets rather frustrating. I don't know if that's the thing still anymore. I remember getting added to lots of groups on Facebook at one point as well, without being asked permission, and then suddenly getting lots of updates about them. Yeah, it's very frustrating. But yeah, I try and let people know that I don't like group chats. Commander Ernie Paul says, I've got some small group chats where I know everyone personally. These are useful. Then there is the random number from some distant cousin texting the entire family about the life events of some other cousin I don't know, followed by a dozen replies from even more family I don't know. Yes, those are the ones. Those are the ones where it's kind of a bunch of people who you do know, but then loads of people that you don't know, who are then sharing in jokes and memes and all of that kind of stuff, and you can get completely lost with what the conversation was anyway. Yeah, so I empathise with you there. Zardwark says, people we managed without group chat for centuries. Here. I don't think we need them anymore. We've managed before, we can manage afterwards as well. Kronos Cameron 7412 says, laughs in Pete Hegseth. Yeah. Yes, the dangers of group chat on display in the American government. Baron Akori says, especially if everyone else is going on and on while you're trying to get things done. Yeah, absolutely. It feels like nobody is saying the important things in there. People are just kind of agreeing, or you get a notification when somebody gives a thumbs up. Or it's the memes and it's the in-jokes that drive me up the wall. Those are the things that really frustrate me there. Jokes that I don't get, I don't feel included in. Anyway, thanks for your comments on that video. Do keep them coming, and keep your questions coming on this one as well. It makes these videos far more interesting rather than just having me rabbiting on any old subject. Okay, so I've got lots of shows coming up over the next month or so, which I'm going to tell you about now. On Friday the 16th of May, I will be at the Old Joint Stock in Birmingham with my good friend Tom Caroline doing our Two Tom show. We've not been back to Birmingham for a couple of years. It's always a good fun one. Right old knees up. If you're up for that, do come and join us there. In May, I'm going to be in Bridgewater with my band, the Fancy Chaps, at the Cobblestones. I played there last year as a solo show, enjoyed it so much that I decided to bring the band along. We'll be supported by Tom Peppard, who is great fun as well. If you're in Bridgewater in Somerset, come along and say hello. Then on Saturday, the 7th of June, I'm going to be at Here for the Music Festival in Bideford, again with my band, the Fancy Chaps. Festival season starting then, folks. That should be great fun. It would be lovely to see you there. And then on Friday, the 13th of June, I will be in Northampton at the Black Prince, playing my first ever show with the excellent Gaz Brookfield, who has a similar song title, or a song about a similar subject to me. It's how we've got to know each other. And Chris Taverner, who I do lots of shows with. That's going to be great. It'd be lovely to see you in Northampton if you're around in that area. You can find details for all the shows I have coming up in 2025 by visiting the link in the description below the video or heading over to tombywile.com, which is my website. If you're interested in seeing these videos before anybody else, as well as accessing all kinds of other exclusive content, including MP3 downloads of all of the songs for Song a Week, you can join my Patreon community for as little as £3 a month. On there this month, I have also added a new remix of Well This Is Shit, done by my good friend Victor Ghastly of Victor and the Bully fame. We're doing an EP together, and so we've put the demo of that remix song on Patreon exclusively for the time being. And also, I had a chat backstage, a rather drunken chat backstage with Professor Elemental and Aubrey Blakeledge about music, film, TV, all of that kind of stuff. If you're interested in seeing all of that, come and join my Patreon community. You can find details of how to join by following the link in the description. That's it for me for this week. Until next time, stay safe and toodle pip.